Good afternoon and welcome everyone to today's session. We're going to give it just another minute to allow everyone the opportunity to join today's call who has registered for today's event. We still see the numbers climbing a little bit on the back end, so definitely want to allow just another minute for those individuals to join the call. But in the meantime, do get some water, get some tea, get some coffee, and be prepared to learn some great content today with our Get Started with Microsoft Teams training. So be back to you shortly. All right. So hopefully everyone has had that opportunity to join today's call. We do want to go ahead and start today's training. I do want to also let you know that today's training will be recorded and available on demand for you to go back and view at your leisure after we conclude today's event. And just a few preliminary things before we dive into the content. We want to show you how to navigate throughout this live event where we will be hosting our training session for today. Now, if you look on your screen, you should see a taskbar or a toolbar, which is going to allow you to do a couple of things while you are inside of the meeting. And a few of those things are one, the ability to play and pause the event. So in the event that you do need to get up mid-session or any point throughout the session, you can pause the live event. And when you return back to your desk, just hit that play button and it will pick you up right where you left off. Also want to make sure if we move to the right of that symbol, you will see the volume button. Please make sure you have your audio volume turned all the way up so you can hear me loud and clear today as we review this content. We also want to move further along that taskbar, and you'll notice three symbols there. That first symbol is going to be that ability to turn on and off the captions if you need that throughout the training. That second settings cog symbol will be how to actually go in and tailor those settings for your captions as well as your video quality. And that last symbol is going to be that double arrow, which is going to allow you to expand or collapse from full screen or to minimize that screen for you. Now, the way to communicate with us throughout this training is going to be via the Q&A section. And if you look to the far right, to the top, you should see a question mark symbol, kind of looks like in a little text box. That is going to be able to allow you to actually open up that Q&A pane and see any questions that may have been published by our moderator on the back end. And any published questions might be repetitive questions coming through from a lot of people during the training. So they may publish a commonly asked question so that way it would be there for everyone's general knowledge, just in case if more than that amount of people were asking or wondering the same thing. Also, down at the bottom, you have the ability to go in and actually type your name if you would like to. Definitely, if it's going to be like a recurring question or a question that we need to build on to make sure we get you the right answer, we just ask that you do please put your name so the moderator can address your question specifically in the event that is a continuation from another question or a previous question or the same question. Or you can go in and post your questions anonymously at the bottom, and it won't reveal your name in the Q&A. chat for our moderator on the back end, but you still have that ability to ask those questions. And in order to send that question, once you have typed it into that text box, all you would do is hit the little airplane symbol there in the bottom right-hand corner, and that will allow you to actually send that question on over. Also, as a reminder, your microphone is automatically muted, so you will not have access to that throughout the training, as well as your camera will be disabled for you, so you don't have to worry about accidentally clicking the camera button and coming off camera while you're in this today's session. Again, this is a live event, so some of that functionality is going to be a little bit different than your normal Teams meetings functionality. And again, just turn up that audio and use those closed captions if you need to. Just ensure that you can follow along throughout today's session. My name is Brittany, and I will be your instructor for today's training. And I also have my lovely moderator on the line with me, Miss Nee, who will be actively answering other questions throughout the session on the back end in that Q&A section. Now, we will spend a few minutes in this PowerPoint to start out the session. We will spend the majority of our time in a live demo tenant showcasing these features for you, but we will leave about 10 to 15 minutes towards the end of today's session to actually have a live Q&A session where we can review any questions that you may have asked throughout the session, or go back and review any demos that I highlight today and you want to see it again. So I also drop that into that Q&A portion. So if I'm indicating something in a chat and one of the features there and you missed it, hey, need ping her on the back end through that Q&A and let her know. So during that time, we can go back and review and showcase that demo again for you. But this is our getting started with Microsoft Teams training. So this is going to be a pretty basic and fundamental session for you today. We're going to be laying some groundwork, basically showing you how to navigate throughout this Teams environment, how to go in and create and send a chat, how to understand the difference between some teams and channels that you are associated with throughout this environment, how to actually start from the beginning and creating and joining a meeting, and what that'll look like for you once you hop into that meeting, and also show you a few tips for your files. But as we work through times of change, it's become clear that our technology solutions must keep up with the times as well. Okay, so we do thrive in hybrid work when we can easily connect, collaborate, and stay in the flow of work with full context. Microsoft Teams is a flexible digital workspace that brings together people and their data, their apps, and features all in one place so everyone can achieve more together. So with connecting naturally, you have that ability through chats, calls, and that shared video from one place. To collaborate your way, you can create, share, and exchange ideas with shared documents and content. And with that stay in the flow, you can stay connected and organized with all of the apps and features you need at your fingertips. Microsoft Teams is the all-in-one app, pretty much for working together. This application was designed to be that collaborative and that communicative tool for you. So you can talk to your coworkers, you can go to meetings, you can place those calls, we can work on documents simultaneously. Maybe you need to write reports or work on budgets, you need to analyze some data, you need to manage that project, you've got some design publications. And as part of a business unit in various work groups, you're reviewing announcements and updates that are for the whole team. Microsoft Teams is part of that solution for you. And again, the top 5 things that we're going to focus on for today's session is how to set up that profile, how to go in and send those chats, create those chats, how to schedule those meetings and join that meeting, how to use your teams and channels, and how to actually find your files and collaborate in these files today. So we're going to hop on over to that live demo. I do encourage you to, if you are joining via the desktop application, open up a web browser, go to office.com and log in with your work credentials as well. So that way you can not only see the content that we're delivering today, but put it in that split screen mode and be able to actually get inside of your team's environment as well and go through some of these features as we highlight them today. I personally feel not only seeing the content and hearing the content, but also being able to jump inside of that environment while you're doing so, seeing and hearing that content is going to help to retain that information and get you more confident with utilizing the Teams application. So you may see my screen go blank for just 1 second. Come back in. And let me know if you can see my screen for me.
You were sharing your PowerPoint still.
Uh-oh. Let me stop sharing.
Yeah, you shared your whole window instead of your screen.
All right. Let me share this. And let me know if I've got it now.
There it is.
Appreciate that. Thank you. So I will be utilizing the web version today to showcase these features, but you do have 3 platforms that you can access this Teams application on. One is that going to be that desktop. Of course, that desktop application is going to allow you to have the most functionality with your features inside of Teams app. You do have the web version where you can access that by going again to office.com, logging in with your company's credentials, and it will then bring you to your office landing page or home page. And then you have that ability to actually download this app onto your mobile phone, whether it is an Android system or iOS system. It is compatible with both operating systems, and to have that Teams platform on your mobile device as well. And again, do keep in mind, based on the platform, some features will be limited to that specific platform. But now that we're here in our office suite, I do want to go ahead and open up our Teams application. You may see it to the far left of your navigation pane, where you may have some apps already pinned to that navigation pane, or you can utilize the search bar at the top of your office suite and go in and type in Teams, and it will bring you to that application as well. But as soon as we click on that, it may take a minute to open up our application. But now we see our Teams environment. Now, by default, if we look over to the left-hand side, you will see your main navigation pane there, where you will see your activity, you will see your chat symbol, you will see your team symbol, your calendar, your calls, your files. You'll see a 3-dot trail here, and we'll touch each one of these again briefly in a minute. You'll see your apps icon, and you will also see your help icon down at the bottom. Now, again, these will be here by default unless your organization has disabled one of these features for you, or you may see some additional apps here on the side where you may be using them company-wide, for example, shifts or maybe approvals with inside of Microsoft Teams, and they want to have that readily accessible for everyone in the organization. So they've actually pinned that there for you org-wide. So don't fret or panic if you don't see some things. It just may mean that it's been disabled for you, or if you see some extra things, it's been allowed by your organization on your navigation pane. But before we dive into each one of these points right here, I do want to showcase the ability to actually go in and tailor down this Teams platform to your personal preferences. So when we go through and make these changes, you don't have to worry about it changing for your entire organization. If I change my background setting in Teams, I don't have to worry about it throwing these Teams environment all over the place or adjusting my settings to her profile. So again, this is specifically for your personal preference while you are working in the Teams environment. And in order to do that, all you would have to do is hover over here. For me and my demo tenant, it's going to show the initials here. But for you, if you have a profile picture set up, it will show your profile picture. And if you're like, hey, I always wondered how to actually add a profile picture, I never knew how to add a profile picture, then click on that symbol, and that will then allow you to go in. And if we hover over that symbol again, to now go in and implement a profile picture for yourself there. Now I'm going to leave it as a default for my initials. And again, if you don't have a profile picture set, it will be defaulted to your initials. And clicking on that will allow you to upload or either take that picture there. You'll also notice in that bottom corner of that profile symbol, you'll see kind of like a status for you throughout the day. So as your workflow changes throughout the day, you do have that ability to go ahead and adjust your status depending on what you're doing. So that is going to give others the opportunity, if they need to contact you and they hover over your symbol, that they can see that you're either available, or if we click this drop down arrow here, we can be busy. Uh-oh, hold on 1 second. I want to interrupt. That's the maintenance.
Give us just a moment and Brittany will be back. Until then, if you have any questions or anything of that nature, please feel free to put anything at all in the Q&A at any time during the session. I am 100% here to answer any questions or to let Brittany know that questions have arrived.
Appreciate that, Dee. Thank you so much. I'm back. But you can go in and use these predetermined statuses to let people know in your organization know what you are doing. So if, for example, we change that to busy, it's going to show busy for our status now. If we're going to do not disturb, we can change that if we need to be focused and heads down into a big project and we've got a timeline that we've got to get that project done in. We can notate as do not disturb, or again, whatever is going on with your workflow during that time. Now, do note, if you do have your do not disturb on, then you will not receive any notifications while you have that status set. Now, will you be able to still communicate inside of your teams, inside of your chats? Yes, you will. You just won't receive that notification whether you have it set up to come through as a feed or through as your banner, or even if you have that notification sound playing for when those events do happen throughout the day. Now we're going to touch on this do not disturb again in just 1 second when we dive a little bit deeper into our settings, and we'll leave it on do not disturb for right now. But if you're like, hey, you know what? I've got my status set to offline. I want it to appear that I'm offline. Maybe I'm going to be on vacation for a couple of weeks. Maybe I'm taking a half a day today, but I'll be back in the office later to handle a few things. If I click back on that again, I change it to offline, but I can now also go in and set a status message, giving a little bit more detail to my colleagues that may be looking to communicate with me throughout the day. Now, if I click on that option, I have 280 characters to get my message across or leave that point of contact in here. So for today, we'll put, I will be out of office until, we'll say the beginning of the year, until January the 2nd, 2023. We're going on a long 2-week vacation until the new year. And we'll leave a point of contact in our place. And let's say we wanted to leave Alex Wilbur as our point of contact while we were gone. We can click on the @ symbol. And to put that in there, all you would have to do is click Shift and the number 2. And that will @ or bring in that ability to @ anyone inside of your organization. So actually, let me say, please contact, do that @ symbol. We'll do Alex. You'll notice as soon as I started populating in text, it's going to pull in the directory for those individuals inside of your organization. If I wanted to put in Erica and leave her as a point of contact, then I can leave Erica as a point of contact. But we'll go back to Alex and leave him in. There he is. if you have any questions. I will answer emails upon my return. All right. You'll notice because I mentioned Alex as well that his name is going to now be in a blue color, which is going to kind of be like a hyperlink in a sense to others inside of your organization. So once I post this status message, they will be able to actually go in and hover over his name from my status message and be able to get his direct contact information from there. So we'll go ahead and show this. I encourage you as a best practice, if you are creating a status message, to actually go in and elect for it to show when people message you throughout your teams and channels or through those chats that you will have with your colleagues, and also to go and determine that time frame. Because we're going to be out for a couple of weeks, we can go in and customize it and set that time frame. Today, we'll just leave it as this week, which is the longest there that you have by the default, or today, or if it's that half a day you're taking, or maybe it's just that 1 hour lunch break. I'm going to step out, get some fresh air, get something to eat, and I only need this to be set for an hour. But determine the time frame that you need. We'll put this week, and I can also click done here. Now it's going to display here for myself. It's also going to give me a message at the top letting me know that this status message will be displayed in the chats and channels. So if someone was to mention me, this is going to be that automatic response for them. And again, they can hover over Alex's name or Erica's name or Stephen's name or John's name or Samantha's name, whoever your point of contact that you're leaving responsibilities to when you're out of the office. And they can go in and chat with him right from that status message. They can go in and video call him right from this message, even do an audio call with him right from this message, get his email address if they need to email him something, or even see his work phone number. So really cool to be able to go in and set that status that way. Now, they do understand that life changes, so it's not like once you've created this message, it's set. It's only going to expire after that time frame. I won't be able to go in and adjust the dates. I won't be able to go in and adjust the point of contact. You surely can go in at any time and edit this status message by clicking on the pencil here, and it will bring open that window for you to go in and make those necessary edits. Once you've made those, click done, and it's going to be right back there for you. And at any given time, you need to delete that. Hey, I thought I was going to be gone longer than that 2-week time frame. I'm actually back in office a little bit sooner. I had to come out, put some fires out in the building, do some last minute paperwork before the quarter ends. We can go in and we can delete that status message altogether. Now, the next thing I want to point out for your profile is that ability to go in with the 3-dot trail right beside your initials or your profile picture, and to go in and tailor down these settings to how you want your notifications to come in, whether it's that missed email activity, whether it's that missed phone call and you want that to automatically be directed to your voicemail, whether it's those sounds that are going to play whenever a reply has come into something that you've posted in one of your teams and channels. So go inside of your settings with the settings cogs and get as granular as you can and tailor down these preferences, okay? By default, you'll see your generals here, and that's going to be the general makeup of your team's environment, to display what it's going to look like for you. What language do I want my application to be in? If Spanish is my native tongue, maybe, and I want to have my team's application in what is my native tongue, Spanish, then I can go in and adjust my app language as well. You'll notice once you click on that drop down arrow, you do have a lot of different languages to select. But just note that if you do change the language for your team's environment, then you will need to restart to apply your language settings, okay? So again, this doesn't change it for everyone in the organization, just your personal preferences. Now, me personally, I like to have the dark mode on as my theme. Being in front of the computer for the majority of the day, with me wearing corrective lenses, does sometimes have a bright glare on my lenses, and I don't want to constantly play with the contrast as I'm working throughout my environment. So I can go in and toggle that mode to my liking. And I'll keep it on dark mode for today's demonstration, but Nia, at any given time, if that's too dark for our attendees to see, please let me know and I can adjust it back to the default.
It would probably be easier to see back on the default. I do apologize.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And one more thing I want to touch on, we don't have time, of course, to go into each tab, but I do want to touch on the notifications outside of that generals tab. And again, that's going to be how you get that missed email activity. Do I need it every hour? Do I just need it daily? Do I want to cut it off? I'm constantly checking my emails anyway, so I don't need a reminder for any missed email activity. Do I want to show a message preview, kind of similar to your mobile device? If you have that preview on when that text message comes through, it'll show you maybe like a line or two of the message, but won't show you the whole message. If it's longer than those one or two lines, then it will do that as well for your message preview inside of Teams. You can also play that sound for those incoming calls and those notifications. Toggle that on and off as need be. And you'll also notice that you have the ability to go in and do the same thing for your teams and channels. So as I click on each one of these, it will allow me to go in. Let's see, is it going to let me do it? That's not what I wanted to hit. We'll go into custom. It's going to allow me to go in and now for all of my teams and channels, do I want it in that banner or do I only want to see it in my feed area? And it'll give you the option for your mentions, for your replies that maybe that you have started, maybe replies to conversations that you have replied to. So again, definitely go in here and determine how you want to receive these notifications throughout the day. Now we'll go back to our settings here. And we'll close out of our settings now. So now that we've reviewed some of those preliminary things that you can do for your overall Teams environment, I want to spend the remainder of the time diving into each one of these pieces or these icons over on the left-hand side. Now, to start with is going to be our activity. That is going to be similar to your social media feeds if you're familiar with social media. And they show you kind of your activity that's been going on throughout the whole day. So if it is that missed email, if it is someone tried to call you, but you were in another meeting and you couldn't answer their call, if it was that somebody mentioned you with inside of a team or inside of a channel, then you can see that activity here. Now, by default, it will be your feed. With this demo tenant, it doesn't have any activity here. Or you can go through and look at just your activity. Hey, maybe I just want to focus on the things that I've done today on the last week or the last 2 weeks and see that view of my activity that way. You can also go in and filter utilizing this little 3-line symbol to the far right. And you can go in and tailor down what you're actually looking for. You notice I can type a filter if I'm looking for a chat or activity from a particular person. I can start typing that person's name. It's going to narrow down my search. If I know the name of the meeting, but I'm not sure, I don't have the time to go and look through all of my chat history to find that meeting or to find the activity from that meeting or from that channel, I can go in and start typing that text there. Or I can utilize this 3-dot trail inside of my filter pane and go on and narrow it down even more. So maybe I just want those mentions. Maybe I want to see all of those reactions, whatever activity was a reaction. Maybe I want to see whatever activity was that missed call. And go in and filter your activity that way. Now you'll notice as I'm clicking on the smaller X outside of that particular filter, it's going to bring me back to my main filter screen. And if I want to close out all the way from that filter option, then I can click the larger X on the outside, and that will then collapse or close that entire filter pane. And you also notice the settings cog here to the far right. And if we click on that settings cog, it's just going to redirect us to our notifications to where we can go in and determine again how we want those notifications to come through for that activity. So you can access that either way from the 3-dot trail here at the top or the settings symbol from within inside of the feed. Now, if we hop down to our chat, you'll notice it's going to open up a pane specifically for your chats and the things that you can do with your chats. You'll have another drop down arrow at the top similar to the activity and feed options inside of that tab. But this you'll only be able to do either your chats or your contacts. Maybe you'd rather see that view coming in through by the contacts as opposed to the actual chat message. Then you can toggle that view. But I'll go back to the default, which is the chat view. And you'll also notice we have the filter icon here as well. So if we want to filter through our chats and filter by that name, the name of that meeting, the name of that group chat that we've created, the name of that one-to-one chat that with our colleagues that we had, then we can go in and filter it that way. Now, similar to the activity, you can click on the three-dot trail. Now, it's going to give you some different options, of course, specifically pertaining to the chat feature, as opposed to those options pertaining to all of the activity that you've done inside of Teams. And then go in and search for particular chats that way. And then clicking on that same X again, that will close out that filter pane for you. Now, to create a chat, all I would have to do is click on the little notepad with the pen, and that's going to allow me to create a new chat. Now, you'll notice it's going to implement a new chat here over under my recents view. And I can go in and I can now enter that name of that individual. Maybe it's an email address if maybe they're external and we have the ability to communicate with external guests that aren't from our organization, or maybe we've created a group where we want to tag everyone in the group and we can use that group or that tag name associated with those individuals. But right now, we'll just go ahead and implement Erica. We'll go ahead and ping her. We can add more individuals as we need to, or we can start out initially with this chat with just me and Erica. As we get new members added to that project team, we can add those members in as need be. Or we can go in and create a whole new chat specifically. I still want to have that separate one-on-one chat to Erica, but I still need to go in and create that group chat with her, myself, and our colleagues, and we can go in and do that anytime. But we'll just leave it here with Erica, and we'll say, hey, Erica, I hope all is well your way. Please ping me when you have the chance. Now, once you'll notice that I've gotten her name in there, it's taken away the option for me to go in and type in that email for that chat name. You'll notice now her profile picture has been implemented on here, and it's also letting me know that this is just a draft. Until I send this message, it will not officially create that chat for me. We'll go ahead and send it right now. And now you'll notice that the draft has been taken away, and I can now see the last message that was communicated through with Erica right from that preview here in the chat. You'll also notice the navigation pane is at the top has also changed now that we've officially created the chat. By default, you will have your chats tab, which is going to show your chat history. Now, depending on your organization, there may be a retention policy or they may not have one set in place. But it may be that, hey, our chats are here forever while you're with our organization. Soon as you leave the organization, then all of that chat history will be lost. Or it could be that every 30 days, every 60 days, every 90 days, this chat history is automatically going to delete. But you will have to go in and create that new chat with that individual. So do check with your IT to see what your retention policy is, so you know how long you have that chat available for you. You'll also notice the files tab at the top, which is going to be there by default once you send that first message. You may or may not see the organizational breakdown, but if I wanted to see, hey, exactly who does Erica work for inside of the organization? Who does she report to? I can see that breakdown utilizing that organizations tab there. And I can also utilize the activities tabs here, which is going to highlight any activity that we have here, okay? And you'll also notice the plus symbol at the end, and that's going to allow you to go in and add a tab across the top. Now, we'll come back to this plus symbol in just a second. If we keep moving further to the right, you'll notice I have the ability to actually video call Erica or that group right from inside of the chat. I don't have to go into my calendar and create a whole new event to get them on the calendar. If I want to do it impromptu, hey, I pinged her. She's got a couple of minutes. Let me call her really quick. There's no need to really set up a meeting in our calendars. Or I can do the audio call as well. So do I want the video or do I want the audio? And you can call them right from inside that chat. If I go to the far right symbol with the little people on it, this is going to show me the people associated with this chat. So right now I can see that it's just me and Erica, but I can go in and add people if I need to. So maybe I need to go in and add Alex as well. And I also need to go in and grab Nestor Wilkie, put him in the chat as well.
Hey,
I can add
Brittany.
those in. Uh-huh.
Apologies, let me just pause because I just got confirmation. For your organization, everyone, your chat messages are set to be deleted after 30 days. So that is your organization's retention policy. Thank you, Brittany.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Nick. Good information to know. So again, that is that 30 days of retention policy per your organization for your chat history. But now you'll also notice I originally started that message with Erica. Even though I added these individuals, Alex and Nestor, it's actually going to create a new group chat for me. I can go in and change the name of this chat, and it should, let's see, hey team. And now that chat has been started with that group. Now it's going to give me that ability to go in and change that name. So I've got the individuals that I need, and maybe this is our welcoming committee. We're welcoming all of the new hires in, and we want to have that chat just for the welcoming committee. We can implement that here. We can save there. And now that name of that group chat has been changed, but you'll also see that I still have my one-to-one chat with Erica. So I don't have to worry about maybe putting some information in the wrong chat or individuals, something maybe confidential. It's only for this particular group. It is separated for us. And then the same concept with calling that group or those individuals right from within inside of that chat. Now, I do want to point out a few things on the navigation bar or the toolbar at the bottom where you type your message in at. And the first one is going to be that ability to actually go in and edit as maybe kind of an announcement to the entire team. We've got an upcoming meeting maybe, and I want to make sure that they review some files before we host our new hire welcoming event for the organization. So I can type in, hey team, please review the following prior to the meeting next week. I can go in and I can make this, I can highlight this text here. I can make that bold because again, we want to grab their attention, make sure that they see it. I can go in and highlight this text if I need to. So maybe I want to make it a different color to really make sure that they see it. I can go in and change my font color there, and we'll do it a darker blue since we highlighted it in a lighter color. And then I can go in and also change my size. Now, do keep in mind, you cannot change your font style like you would be able to do in Word. And for your font size, you only have small, medium, and large. You can't go to 100% size for your text size like you would be able to do in, for instance, Word or Excel. So we'll go ahead and make that large. Again, we want everybody to see that. I'm going to return down, and now I want to attach those documents that I want everyone to see before the meeting. I can hit this link button here to insert a link. And that could be a link to an existing document if you've got a copy of that document, or to maybe a specific website. Maybe it's a website that they need to actually visit first, or maybe it's a link to that SharePoint page that we're using within inside of our organization that's housing some information that we need for the entire organization. And we can put links here so they know where the link is. And we'll just do Bing for today's example. Now you'll notice if it is an invalid URL address, whether it's a website or to that link to that document, it will let you know that it is invalid. But as you do get the correct link in there, or if the link is valid, it will give you that green check mark letting you know, okay, everything's a go, and we can insert that here. And let's say I also wanted to label this as important. I can click on the exclamation point right beside that formatting option at the bottom. But do note, you do have 3 options. The default will be standard. It'll just be sent as usual. You have the one in the middle that is going to mark it important. Now I have the term important here at the top. And when I finally post my message, I'll see a bold red line to the left of my message. Or I have the ability to go in and mark it as urgent. Do keep in mind that if you do mark this announcement inside of this chat or to anyone inside of that one-to-one chat or inside of that channel, and you're making a post inside of the channel, marking it as urgent will notify the recipients every 2 minutes for 20 minutes. So that's 10 notifications coming through in 20 minutes. It may be overwhelming if they are in a meeting and trying to conduct another meeting. They're in a session, maybe they're presenting inside of that session to see those notifications coming through. So do be mindful when you mark any of these messages urgent. Again, they will receive that message or that notification every 2 minutes for 20 minutes. But we'll just mark it important for right now. And we've got everything that we want inside of our message here. And we can go ahead and click send as normal. So now it's gonna put that bold red line there. They've got the links there. So if they click on that link, they'll be redirected to that file, redirected to that SharePoint site, redirected to that website you may want them to go and visit. And they can go in and respond to that by clicking a thumbs up. Hey, they can reply directly to that specific post. Looks good. Thanks for the update. And we can keep that thread going to that particular post. Now, of course, if you wanted to start a new post outside of responding to someone's particular post, you would just go back in down at the bottom and create that new thread. All right. You'll notice also as I hover over each one of these posts, I do have the ability to go in and react and comment to it. Now, again, this may be disabled per your organization, but by default, if it is not disabled, you will have those predetermined reactions that you can do to these posts. Now, anytime you see this three-dot trail inside of the Teams environment or inside of Word or Excel or PowerPoint or OneNote, it's always going to give you that ability to go in and perform more options. So if I want to go in and perform more options to this, I can click on that three-dot trail and you can see what options you have per your organization for these posts inside of your Teams and inside of your chats. Now, another thing I do want to highlight really quick is the ability to translate. Let's say if we say, hola, amigos here, but let's say I don't speak Spanish, but I still need to communicate with the individuals that I am working with inside of this Teams environment. We'll go ahead and click and send that really quick. We'll hover over that post again, and I'm going to click that three-dot trail again, but this time I'm going to hit translate. Now, do keep in mind as well that this will translate from whatever language it was sent to you in to the default language that you have your Teams environment set to. So again, for example, if this was originally sent in German and I had my Teams application set to Spanish, then when I hit the translate, it would translate that German into Spanish. Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. And we'll hit translate, and it's going to translate that message for me. So no reason to say, well, I couldn't communicate with them. We didn't speak the same language. You have that ability to actually translate inside of Teams. So another really, really cool feature that I do like to show. And at any given time, if you want to translate it back, maybe this colleague is helping me work on my Spanish. So I need to see what it says in Spanish, but I also need to go back and see what it says in English. You can revert back to the original message by clicking on that three-dot trail again. Instead of now saying translate, it'll say see original message, and it's going to translate it back to that original message for you. So now that we've kind of mentioned that, I do want to also hop over to my chats now. As I'm getting these chats created, you'll notice that it will be time-stamped for me over to the left. Now I can toggle that view by looking at my recents, which they will all show here. But let's say, hey, this conversation with Erica and I'm talking to Erica constantly throughout the day. It's probably out of the 8-hour workday, I'm talking to Erica for 4 of them because we work so closely together inside of our organization. I can pin that conversation with Erica to the top by clicking on that three-dot trail outside of that chat and clicking pin. Now you'll notice it removed her from the recents view. However, it did move that chat up to the top. And if you didn't have any chats pinned prior to pinning that first initial chat, then it will create that pinned section for you. But if I were to unpin, for example, all of these, well, both of these conversations, it will remove that pin section for you and it won't be in your view. So if you don't see the pin section, it's just because you haven't pinned any conversations for that pin section to be created. But as soon as you pin that first conversation, you'll now see that view and you can toggle, hey, do I want to focus just on my pinned conversations for right now? Or do I want to collapse that view if I've got a lot of conversations pinned at the top and focused on some more recent conversations that I've had with other individuals. If I click on that three-dot trail again, we'll stay with Erica's chat here. I can go in and add her directly to my favorites right from the chat. I can mute this conversation with her. You'll notice if I mute that conversation, it'll now take away her initials or her profile picture and now implement a bell with a slash through it. And this is just letting me know visually that, yes, I can still communicate with Erica. It's just that I won't receive any notifications from Erica, maybe while I'm focused on that do not disturb, or I've got my messages status set as busy, and do it that way. But in the event I'm out of that call, I now want to receive notifications from Erica. I can go on with that three-dot trail again, unmute it, and start receiving those notifications from her. And I'll click that three-dot trail again. Another one that I want to highlight here is that ability to actually notify when available. So for example, it's showing me that Erica is out of office right now. But hey, maybe I've got a very important question I need to ask her. The point of contact that she left inside of her status message, they don't quite have the answer that I need. So I need to speak to Erica as soon as she gets back into office. I can select to notify when available. So as soon as Erica comes online, she's now available. I will be notified, letting me know, hey, Erica's in office. Now I can go and ping her, or have that impromptu call with her, or schedule that meeting with her once I see that she's back in the line of business. So I definitely want to highlight those features really quick. Now I do want to come down to my teams and channel and spend a little time here. And you'll notice you're going to have your view for all of the teams that you are a part of. You've been invited to. Some of those teams may be set as private, where you actually have to have an invite to get inside of that team, or you have to be added on the back end by one of the owners of the team. And if you're an owner of the team, that just means that you created the team and you have a little bit more permissions when it comes down to managing the team and the channels inside the teams as a regular member would be. And that's someone that you've invited to that team and to those channels. Now, each one of these teams will have a arrow associated right with it, and that's going to expand that so you can see all of the channels associated with that team. And the easiest way I like to think of, like, well, what's the difference between the teams and a channel? Let's say we've got this huge mansion, right? And this mansion is going to be our organization. Now, inside of this mansion, we've got a west wing, we've got a north wing, we've got a south wing, we've got an east wing, right? So we've got different parts of this house, but in each part of those wings, we have smaller rooms. We have our conference rooms, we have our bedrooms, we have our bathrooms. And in each one of these rooms are going to be, think of them as your channels. And inside of these rooms, this is where the work actually gets done. So yes, I may have my HR team here, which is maybe our west wing in our mansion. But inside of that HR team, I've got it broken down into smaller groups, where this group of individuals may be handling just the new hires tax information. We may have another group inside of the HR department, which is handling some other things for the organization. Or maybe we've got a rotation set up, going back into the office, working in a hybrid workplace now, where group A is going in on Mondays and Wednesdays, and group B is going in on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we're all working from home on Fridays. And we've got it broken down into those smaller groups. So that's the easiest way that I like to think of it, is your teams as your wings inside of your house, and your channels as your rooms inside of each wing where the work gets done. Now you'll also notice again this three-dot trail. So if I click on that three-dot trail outside of the team, it will give me some functions based on my access inside of Teams. Here I am a creator of this team, so it's giving me that ability to go in and manage a team. But if you're just a member and that access has been disabled for you, then of course you wouldn't see some of these options here. Now we won't dive into each one of these. That is another training specifically just towards teams and channels, where we do take that time and to dive into a little bit more detail what you can do with these teams and channels. But I did want to highlight that three-dot trail feature for you. Now, one thing I do want to point out is the ability to go in and actually hide this team. You'll notice as soon as I hit hide, it deleted it from my, well, not deleted it, but removed it from my Your Teams view. But now it's created that hidden teams for me. So I still have access to the team and the channels. It's just put in a different section, or a different folder, if you will, for me there. Now, if I click on this 2018 audit planning and click on the three-dot trail outside of the channel, you'll notice it does not give me the option to hide my channel. Well, it does give me the option to hide my channel here, but I want to highlight it now. It gives me the option to go in and actually pin my channel. So I can't pin a team. If I click on the three-dot trail here, I can't pin the team. However, I can hide a team, but I can go in and pin channels similar to our pin feature within inside of our chats. And it doesn't delete that channel from my teams view here, but it will also put the channel inside of my pin section here. So again, if this is a channel I'm constantly in throughout the day, I don't have time to look through maybe 20 or 30 different channels that I have access to inside of the organization, and I need that pinned at the top. We'll also go ahead and pin our 2018 findings up there, and we'll pin another one from a different channel. We'll do residential taxes. We can pin that there. And again, just giving you a little bit easier access to those channels that you frequently visit throughout the day. Now, I do want to go in.
Brittany,
Yes,
apologies
ma'am.
before you move on. I just wanted to give a general blanket reminder that users cannot create a Teams. Your IT department will create the Teams for you. So general users cannot create a Teams. It all has to be done through the IT department.
Got you. Thank you, Nisa. It sounds like it looks like you have to put in actually a ticket or a service request to get that team created. And once that is created on the back end per your IT department, then you will have access to that team and the channels that you need associated with that team. So thank you for pointing that out for me, Nee. But now that I'm in this channel, we'll hop into our 2018 safety audit. We'll go to our 2018 audit planning. I can go in and it's going to have the similar functionality to our chat. So if I wanted to start that conversation, hey team, have a great weekend. Again, similar to our chat, this is just going to be associated with the entire channel. So anyone that has access to that channel will be able to go in and see your post, see that chat history or that post history inside of that channel. I can go in and I can meet now right with everyone associated with that channel. So if I click on this drop down arrow, do I want to meet now or do I actually want to schedule that meeting? And I'll actually go in and actually schedule a meeting with the entire channel. We need to meet with this 2018 audit planning. So we'll go ahead and schedule a meeting, which is now going to bring us to our calendar. And we'll go ahead and give it a title, metric review here. I don't have to add any required attendees because I selected to create this meeting inside of the inside of the channel. It should send this invite out to everyone associated with this channel. I can go in and change the time frame. We'll do an hour meeting. We've got to have this set up where we can review these metrics. But I do also want this to be a recurring meeting. I want this to happen weekly. Maybe once a week we need to meet. Maybe we need to meet once a month, once a year. Just to determine the needs for why you want this meeting to recur and set that time frame. We'll do weekly here. Now, as soon as I select how often I want to repeat, it will give me the ability to go in and now tailor it down. Today's Tuesday, so it's going to automatically start on that Tuesday. But let's say we also need to have this on Thursdays as well. Or we need to have it Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We can go in and select more than one date that we want this meeting to recur and show up on everyone's calendar. And I can go in and select the end date. We'll set it out till that last Thursday in February, the 23rd. And we'll go ahead and click save. So now this is just letting me know this meeting will happen every Tuesday and Thursday up until February the 23rd of 2023. I can go in and add any details to this meeting. Hey, maybe I need to remind them to bring their work device. Maybe I need to remind them to bring their departmental metrics for the quarter. Whatever details you need here, it's going to be similar to if you were putting inside of that chat, inside of the channel, or inside of your one-to-one chats or your group chats. You can still go in and attach those links to those documents. You can go in and make any bullet points if need be. Adjust that font if need be as well. And we'll just say bring positive attitudes. I can go ahead and determine, do I want this to show as free, tentative inside of my work calendar since I'm creating this event. I can select the time zone. Hey, maybe we're working with some partners on the West Coast where we rather have it in their time zone. Then we can put the meeting in their time zone. We can go ahead and select, do we want responses? Yes, I'm looking for responses from the individuals that are actually going to be able to join this meeting. Or do I want to allow them to be able to forward this meeting to other individuals? If no, then of course, unselect allow forwarding. And then that will not provide a link to the meeting so others can share the meeting out. And do we want to have registration for this? Hey, do I want people in my org to register? Maybe we need to have a head count. We plan on doing a surprise lunch for everyone that attends this meeting. So we need to have a head count of who's going to be there, and we want them to register so we know that they're going to be accounted for and attend there. Or if it's everyone, hey, we're sending this link out for this meeting to external guests as well, and we still want those members to register as well, just not people in our organization, then we can select that for everyone. But we'll leave it as none right now, and I'll go ahead and send this invite out. Now it's going to take a second to populate, but you'll see now that I've created this meeting, it's going to post inside of this channel for me. It's going to let the people know that this occurs every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. until the end date that we selected. I can go now to my calendar, and I can see that this meeting is on my calendar. And I notice, because since it is recurring, it's going to show up every Tuesday and Thursday. Even if I toggle out utilizing the arrows at the top to navigate throughout the weeks, I can still see that that is on my calendar. And if we jump down with the monthly view and still go out until that week of, let's say, February is this end date that we set, we'll say the week of the 27th. It's not going to show on our calendar because, again, we set that hard date for that meeting to end on the 23rd of February. But if at any given time, if you need to extend that time frame out for that meeting to reoccur, and you want to extend that series, as the organizer, if we go back to our original meeting, which started today on the 20th, and I double click on this, it will now give me that ability to edit, and I can go in and change anything that I need to with this meeting. So we'll go ahead and click close. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and join this call. And we'll block our microphone and camera because you can still hear me without it. But I wanted to show you what it looks like once you get inside of this call. You will have your dressing room where you can see how many people are in the call prior to you joining. You can go in and toggle on your camera and your microphone before you actually join the meeting. But definitely take this time to make sure if you are coming on camera that your lighting's right, that everything is looking good before you join the call. But we'll go ahead and join now. And once we're in this meeting, and we can go ahead and dismiss this, we're not going to use our camera or our audio today. You'll notice the duration of the call. I can still see my turn on camera option or my microphone option here and click on that to toggle that off or on. I can share my screen. So maybe I needed to go in and actually share that whiteboard that we're collaborating in together, or I needed to go in and share my entire desktop or some things that I want to share here. Then once I click on that share screen, it will bring up any applications you have here. Maybe you have your PowerPoint up and you just want to showcase the PowerPoint. You can just select that particular file or your entire desktop that you want to share during the meeting. And to stop sharing, I can just hit that same button and I can stop sharing or close that shared tray. I have the ability to go in and actually record this meeting, and we'll go ahead and start the recording. It's going to let everyone know inside of the chat that this meeting is being recorded and who recorded that meeting. I can still chat with my colleagues even though we're inside of this meeting. Keep up the good work. I can still attach files while we're inside of this meeting. So if I need to attach a file, I can hit the paperclip button here. I can browse from my recent files. I can pull from some files from inside of other teams and channels. I can even browse my OneDrive or even upload from my computer. And we'll do recent files here. Let's see, may not have any here. We'll browse teams and channels. I know we've got some files in here. And we want to share this Word document here. I can upload a copy right while I'm in the meeting with my colleagues. We're discussing it, and I can share that. We'll replace this file, and we'll go ahead and share that. So now that we've shared our files, we've discussed the metrics for the quarter. The call is about to end. We're telling everyone bye, have a good weekend, and we want to end the call. If I end that call, we'll rate you about the quality. We'll dismiss today. But you'll notice now it is posted in that channel that we created that meeting in. They will now have a copy of the recording for those individuals that may have missed the meeting. Hey, they weren't able to attend the meeting. They were out on vacation, but they still need to go back and review the content that we covered. They can still access that recording right from the channel. I can also see that there was a file attached during this meeting. And if I click on my Files tab, I will be able to see any files that have been shared while we were in that meeting right from the Files tab. And again, everyone from that channel, because we created this meeting inside of the channel and wanted everyone associated with that channel to join this meeting, they will also have access to those files shared as well. So that is our general overview. Again, to our getting started with Teams, we wanted to touch a lot of areas, how to navigate this Teams environment, how to go in and actually create the chats, and what a few things that you can do inside of these chats. The breakdown of the teams and channels, and a little bit of the features that you can utilize when you are inside of these teams and channels, as well as sharing some files inside of these teams and channels, and where those files are located inside of those channels. So I do want to open it up, Nee, with the last 2 or 3 minutes that we have, and see if there are any questions that haven't been answered inside of the chat, or if there's any demos someone needs to see again, let me know.
So I just wanted to do like a reminder, just in case it wasn't very clear, but when you make a calendar or any sort of thing on your calendar, it does actually sync up to your Outlook, as well as your Outlook will sync up to your Teams calendar. So you might already on your Teams calendar see some things that you've previously scheduled through Outlook. So it kind of goes in between the two of them.
And while you were talking about that, yeah, actually, excuse me, I actually jumped over to my Outlook calendar to actually give a visual representation of that. So again, we do have our Teams calendar here. Okay, I just hopped over to my Outlook, and I'm going to put it in my calendar view. And now you'll notice, as well as Nee was saying, that meeting is on my Outlook as well. So I can join that conversation right from within inside of my Outlook. I don't have to join it from within inside of Teams, but they will sync for you. So a really good way to actually work in both if you need to, and know that they are synced. You can create a new event from your Outlook by clicking on that new event, and we can go in and click event. And then I can go in and determine how I want it set up that time. It looks a little bit different if you were creating it inside of your Teams, but you also have that option. I wanted to point out, if you are scheduling these events inside of your Outlook as well as inside of Teams, if you're doing it in Outlook, then definitely select to have that to be turned into a team meetings once you add the attendees, if you want it to be still held inside of Teams. So just wanted to point that out. But great questions, great questions. Any more, Nee? Do we have any more floating in?
Not at the moment, right? It's just pretty much the general stuff. I think you did a wonderful job, Brittany, showing everything off. Of course, everyone, if you do have any final questions or anything that you would like for us to communicate, we're going to hang out for about 2 minutes or so. If we don't see anything come through, we're going to go ahead and end the session. I do want to remind you all that the session is recorded, so you can access the recording by clicking the link that originally brought you here. So if you ever need a little bit of a refresher, you can do that for you all. Other than that, I hope everyone has a good holiday if you're celebrating, right? Be safe. What about you, Brittany? Any last little things?
Yes. Thank you for your time today. We do know this is a lot of content to fit inside of 1 hour, and this Teams application is extensive, and you can use so much with it. Do keep in mind that we do have other trainings regarding Teams or anything inside of the Office Suite, Word, PowerPoint, OneNote, Excel, and we do have trainings that build on one another. So again, this was kind of like an introductory getting started with Microsoft Teams. But if you're now like, hey, you know what, I love this information. Let me have that training on just focused on Teams and channels, or we want that training solely focused on file structure and apps, or we want to now implement using live events. This was a great way to host a company-wide training or a company-wide session. How did you do it? You did it through live events. Okay, now we need a training on solely live events. Let your point of contact know, so that way they can get in contact with our point of contact, and we can definitely host the multitude of trainings for you and your organization. But it was a pleasure having you on the call today. I don't think any more questions came in, if I'm correct.
That is correct. So we're just going to go ahead and end it. Tongue-tied there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Happy holidays. Be safe, and look forward to seeing you on the next training. Take care.